We all figured that we would probably get a new Battlefield game in 2016. It's been 3 years since Battlefield 4, so the time felt right for Battlefield 5. But Swedish studio DICE has thrown us a bit of a curveball. This year's release is not Battlefield 5. It's Battlefield 1, and we are headed back to the trenches of the First World War. While we were at E3, we caught up with Daniel Berlin, lead world designer at EA DICE in Stockholm, and asked him a few questions about what we can expect from the new game, starting with the giant inflatable elephant in the room, those enormous floating airships.
These are not, like something that is like setting on a preset direction that you just jump into. It's like they're completely movable. You drive them around on the map. And also in terms of like where it goes down, perhaps you've seen like when the airship crashes, it's not pre-scripted where it goes down. It goes down where it goes down. So you can be the pilot of that airship, look at your health bar and go like, okay, we're about to go down, but I still want to get the F flag. And so I'm just going to drive the airship over there, and then just as it goes down, you just crash it right down on the town, on that flag, takes out everything that it lands on, and then you guys can just swoop in and capture that flag. So we really didn't want to restrict anything this time around, just like build a multiplayer sandbox, and then just let the players decide how they want to play the game.
We have taken objective apples.
Tying in with what Daniel said, you will be able to play the game you want to play, and your choice of class will make a big difference to what you're able to do. Pick from Assault, Medic, Support, Scout, Tanker or Pilot, and choose wisely, because while each one has its own unique loadout, there are no cross-class weapons. Once you've got your favourite gun, you've got your favourite class, because none of the others will be able to use it.
We are losing objective path.
We also found out a few more things about what's in store when Battlefield 1 launches in October. From a technical perspective, we're told that the game will support high tick rate servers on release, with the PC version running at least 60 Hz. We're also plonked into the middle of larger, more open environments than we've seen in any other Battlefield game to date, and while we were only given one map to play on, the multiplayer map collection will take you all over the world, including the Alps, the Western Front, and even Arabia. Chatting further to Daniel, we asked what had been significantly worked on since the release of Battlefield 4.
Actually, we took a big look at all the systems we have in the entire game, like the small parts of the game. Like for example, movement. How can we push movement further this time around? So we looked at like if you want to go through a door, for example, you don't have to walk up to the door, interact with the door, and then go through. We wanted that whole experience to be more fluid. So this time around, if you're just sprinting, you can just sprint and just barge through doors. In all the Battlefield titles, also you run into scenarios, maybe, they come up to a ledge, and that ledge, you're like, why can't I jump over this ledge? So this time around, we let you actually, you can grab ledges that are taller than yourself as well, to just jump over them. So it's just looking at all those systems and making sure that we push everything one step further. And also in terms of the dynamic world. I don't know if you remember playing Parasol Storm and Battlefield 4 and the weather's coming in. Everybody loved that so much. So we just said hey, let's just add dynamic weather patterns to every map in the entire game instead. And it's you don't know what weather is going to be triggering when you're playing the map. It's not a set sequence. It's different every time you play it. You can go into a map and it can be sunny day, the entire map. And the next time you're playing it, it could be sunny day, and then the fog rolls in, and then it starts to just rain. So and that pushes you to change how you play. For example, if you're a sniper in one of them windmills on the St Quentin Scar map that we're playing here today, and the fog rolls in, before the fog rolled in, you have long engagement ranges. You could snipe at a range, but now you can't see anything, so you better change it up. You gotta maybe pull out your hatchet and go to town pretty much. And it kind of brings a whole new feeling to it, because once those engagement ranges get pulled in, it kind of gets quiet because the gunfire lessens and now it becomes a little bit eerie. And then all of a sudden you just hear someone shouting and they're coming at you with a bayonet charge from behind, and it's just super dynamic.
Obviously, multiplayer is still a massive part of Battlefield 1, with the game again supporting up to 64 players. This time around, a new squad system means that you'll be able to team up with your friends and move through servers together, entering and leaving at the same time. This might not sound like much, but once you've got a good team together, it's reassuring to know that they'll be there in the next round.
Halfway there, we have the upper hand. We have taken objective apples.
You talked before about doors and ledges and stuff. If all else fails, just blow it away, right?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, like if there's no door for you, you can make your own door. So like pretty much everything in this game is destructible. And we're adding a whole new layer to that destruction. We wanted players to be able to be creative in their destruction. And what I mean by that is we want you to be able to pick a house asunder piece by piece. So for example, you can enter a house, walk up to the second floor, throw down some explosive ordnance on the staircase underneath you, blow that up, take that staircase out. Now no one else can actually get up onto that floor with you. And it's super cool.
We have lost objective. We have taken objective ready.
And actually, I want to mention also the way we're using the system ground information, we're calling it. Basically, how creators have a much larger gameplay impact this time around. I've seen people playing the game now, it's just like they're running around the map, the airship comes in, the huge behemoth, it starts to bomb the landscape, and it basically turns big open fields into like a Swiss cheese. So people that actually survive that bombardment, they got low health. What they do now, instead of trying to run for cover, they just roll into the craters that are being created, and then they can use the craters as cover as they go through. So you can sit in a crater created in crouch, and then you peek up and then fire and then go to the next crater. So you can actually create your own covers like that as well.
We didn't talk much about single player while we were at E3, but Battlefield 1 will explore ideas based on real-world historical events. The campaign features multiple protagonists telling the stories of unknown war heroes. We also didn't talk about customization, but we're promised there's a lot of that on the way as well.
We are winning. We have taken objective ready.
If you look at the technology that came in that era, it started off, in the old world with like horses and sabers and stuff like that. But as the conflict came to a close at the end, like all this big industrial era, you swept it, and it was a time of innovation. So there's so much weaponry that actually was the first time you saw it ever. So you will actually see, light machine guns, fully automatic rifles, semi-automatic rifles, small machine guns, shotguns, bolt-action rifles. So we can actually give players that Battlefield experience that they know and love, and you can pretty much cater your play style to the weapon loadout that you like. So we can actually push the pacing and keep the same pacing as you know from Battlefield.
On one hand, what Daniel's talking about is a good thing. The game plays nicely and feels snappy like a modern FPS. On the other, this is a shooter set in a completely different time period, and we were hoping for more authenticity. The visuals and the movement all feels era appropriate right up until the point where you pull out a weapon and use the same old spray and pray gunfire we've seen in every other FPS to date. Sure, it's what we're used to, and sure, it suits a certain sort of gameplay, but it felt jarring in a game that was trying so hard to create a sense of immersion, of putting us right inside the trenches. That said, it depends on what you want from your shooter. If you are able to put that bit aside, Battlefield 1 is shaping up to be a solid FPS. The First World War setting brings something new to the genre, from new maps to the new weapons to the inevitable new strategies, and of course, the game looks spectacular. It sounds like DICE has looked carefully at its earlier games, throwing out the parts that didn't work and focusing on improving the ones that did, which should make this new one a very strong shooter when it hits shelves later in the year. We're looking forward to seeing you in the trenches.
So when can we expect to get our hands on this great war?
So the game will be out on the 21st of October on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.